Good morning.
Morning.
Hello and welcome to this workshop on Unveiling the Future, the quest for complete content automation. I almost wanted it to sound like one of my favorite Indiana Jones films. I don't know how much quest we can get to, but let's go through this. We have about 20 minutes to, I don't know how it's a workshop, not sure how much we can establish in this workshop in 20 minutes. At least we can pose the problem that we all face with content automation. But let's get you in the mood for automation with a simple quiz, who is considered as the father of automation. Your choices are Norbert Wiener, Alan Turing, Ismail Al-Jazari, Charles Babbage, Joseph Marie Jacquard. So there is a Slido, but it's skipped. Let me see what's happening here. It's not working for some reason. Well,
it's coming automatically.
Is it coming on?
You need that actually to put this up like I'm presenting more.
It's maybe it's got lost in translation, but it doesn't matter because we all can, just raise your hands, old style. I can give a bit of a clue by reading out some of these because I want to pay homage to all these people who contribute to automation that we've seen in our industry, across the industries actually. Norbert Wiener, he was a computer scientist, mathematician, philosopher. He's considered the originator of cybernetics, the science of communicating between living things and machines, so the concept around it. Alan Turing is pretty popular, the Turing test is also called the imitation game as a test of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior. So that's still used in the industry. Ismail Al-Jazari, that's also a bit of a surprise when I was doing a bit of research on this. And he is from Mesopotamia in the 12th century. He wrote a book which was known as Automata. Also, it's got a long name, the Book of Knowledge of Ingenious Mechanical Devices, although it was not written in English, but it's translated so. Charles Babbage, pretty popular, mathematician, philosopher, inventor. Babbage originated the concept of a digital programmable computer. And then the last person, Joseph Marie Jacquard, he created the Jacquard loom, which is the earliest programmable loom. So what do you think? Who is considered as the father of automation out of these guys?
The oldest one.
The oldest one. So the answer is around Norbert Wiener. Now, the thing is, the jury's out because I asked ChatGPT, and it says Jacquard. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest.
I asked Copilot, so it's Wiener and Engelberg.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, yeah. You see, it's different answers. But of course, we always talk about father of automation. So who is the father of automation? Mother of automation. Come on, ladies. It's supposed to be. If you look at it in Google, it will be Ada Lovelace. But necessity should be the mother of automation, similar to necessity being the mother of invention. I think we are still today here considering what is the necessity in our content production automation that is bringing us to this topic. So let's begin this. I assure you this will be death by PowerPoint, so you'll have to sit and listen to me for the next 10, 20 minutes. And then we'll try and see if we can get some questions around, get some ideas going, if you're still engaged. But typically when we talk about, there is a challenge within our industry about, considering full content production automation. When we talk about these times, we talk about the traditional approach to content creation. It is still quite manual. You have creative agencies creating things from, based on ideas. You have your brand strategy and ideas and how it is expressed in text and images and video, whatever format that is. Of course, for us, it is also, it has to be compliant. Regulatory compliance is another process, approval process. It's a kind of a block. But there are benefits of automation, bringing more efficiency in automation, streamlined processes, rapid content generation, et cetera, et cetera. There are things that are being tested. The future trends in our industry is about predictive analytics, real-time content adaptation, virtual detailing, et cetera, et cetera. In conclusion, full content automation production is revolutionizing marketing, pharmaceutical marketing, offering efficiency, compliance, and personalization. Or so that's what the AI thought. Now, the thing is, I did not put this, or we did not create this presentation. It was created completely by AI with a single prompt on the topic that I put in, the quest for complete content automation in pharmaceutical marketing. And this is what it produced. It produced the text, image, everything. Now, I could have put in videos like yesterday's presentation someone did about Obama doing the dance and stuff like that. Could have been possible. But again, I did not decide what visual to choose, what is the brand guidelines or anything about it. So the marvel of this is that if this is possible with one single prompt, why can't we create things like our e-detailer, which takes months to create in a single prompt, And I think that's where we want to explore this. Welcome to the topic, Unveiling the Future. This is what we created as humanly possible, the quest for complete content automation. I'm Prasant Vijayakumar, and I'm here with my colleague, Anna. So I head the content strategy work stream for Viseven, and Anna is the product manager for modular approach. So any questions on our platform, eVisit, please speak to Anna. And we are Viseven. We are a global company focused on content and content automation. I hope you all have heard of us before, so I'm not going into another slide of what we do. But let's get to the topic. What do we mean by complete content automation? I think even today, we kind of work in this hybrid module. Whether it's, let's say, centralized approach of global creating most of the majority of the content. You have your global marketing team working with creative agencies. They, produce fully formed, channel-ready assets. Whether it's e-detailer, emails, or any other print brochures, whatever that is. And then you have this long-winded MLR reviews. We all know about this. And then the same thing happens, repeat in the local. Either they are creating their own content, or they are adapting, transcreating, whatever. It's a long process. 6 months, 3 months. It could take sometimes forever on some types of content. And then we thought, okay, let's solve this problem by bringing this modular approach, Lego blocks. I hate the term Lego blocks because at least Lego comes with some instructions where I can pretend that I know how to put it together for my son, But here, the idea is that you have modules of information that is pre-approved and which can be self-assembled. You go to the local market scan, self-assemble in a tool, and create the assets they need at the time by bringing efficiency, shortening the production time, etc. Nothing wrong with it. The concept is solid. But there is one problem here, is that we expect, and this is where the problem is, expectation, that we expect the local brand managers, or at least in my experience, to self-assemble the content, to bring that efficiency. You expect here's a platform, like we have our tool eVisit, we have modules, why don't you self-assemble it? You want to create an email, don't go to an agency. You put it together, you got it done in a few minutes at least, and then push it to MLR, and you got it done. And it's pre-approved, so it should be easier. But does that happen? Probably not. They still lean on their creative agencies, local agencies. So we are not getting the efficiency that we were meaning to get from modular content. So I think there's still processes in here which there is an opportunity where we can automate, and this is where we come to the point of full content production automation. If we can create slides using AI with a single prompt, if we have standardized modules, let's get the burden of creating content assets from the brand manager to some kind of prompt generated, asset creation for the channels, we talk about omnichannel, etc. Why do we need it? Here's an example, a scenario. Let's consider that global creative agency has used the best creative, or global brand managers have used the best creative agency in the world to produce the best looking brand templates or asset, and they create the Mona Lisa of their art from the idea that was generated. Locals adopt it, they use local guidelines. It still looks like Mona Lisa, but they have made so many changes. It's no more consistent with the original brand idea. We have already lost some of the brand salience. What's going to the market may not be the same as all the other markets. We have completely lost the identity of the brand. Maybe in the future we have more hyper AI localized version. It's still better than this version, but it's still within the brand guidelines. It's just an analogy of what could be the possible future for content production automation, because now we can create image, text, videos, whatever, but if we have the standards in place for your brand, it is communicating consistently in the same voice and tone, it will make more sense. And customers at the end are always engaging with the same brand wherever they are. So the future could be content at a click, or even without a click. And earlier, Nick Lagan from Grunenthal, he was presenting about dynamic content creation at the point of, maybe a scenario is that we do not even get it to that point. It is happening at the time of engagement with the HCP. That's one idea, but then there's a problem. MLR. What do we do? What do we do? We could possibly do some kind of a workflow tool which is automatic validation based on standard strict rules. If we all can get MLR to agree on what those rules are. Maybe it's all unbranded content that has been pumped out. Initially we can start creating all this auto-generated content which is unbranded, but it is the right information, the relevant information. Yesterday there was a talk about being relevant rather than there was. Yeah. So this is an idea. So the simplest idea for today is that, of course, there is a role for the global team to create all the, work on the content, the strategy around the content. They work with the agencies to model what that content should look like, feel like, and speak like. And then it's all happening in a single workflow tool or some kind of a planning tool, some kind of cockpit where they can manage it. And they are not producing fully formed assets, but they are creating modules. But there's a problem with modules as well, because we all describe modules in different, there's no standardization. We call it components, elements, atoms, molecules, pebbles, I don't know what else. We get to a standard. At least what I'm suggesting here is meaningful versus meaningless. So you got meaningful content as modules. And then when it goes to the local market, they are more focused on how to deliver that strategy, and they automate the production of the assets for which they need the content for the, at the point of interaction with the HCP. So, this is one of the ideas for now. We are working on one of these scenarios at Viseven.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
At which stage do you think farmers should, in future, approve their materials? Is it on a kind of final production level? This is the final email, or would you rather say approval MLR-wise is taking place at an earlier stage?
It's a good point. This is always debated. Should modules be pre-approved or should it not? Does it make sense? Are you going to increase the time by pre-approving modules? Our recommendation usually is, at least when you begin creating modules or modular content, you have already existing tons of content. You reuse that. So create modules to reuse existing content. Those reusable content is already sort of approved because they were presented in various assets. So it's easy for your MLR team to probably consider that this is approvable on its own if it is meaningful on its own, right? That's a case for reuse only. Now imagine if it's completely creating a new content asset, or whatever that is, a module. In theory, it doesn't need approval because, or let's say it's a global to local, but no, I know this disagreement happens. this is always a question. In theory, it doesn't need to because it's going to anyway at a local level. Let's say if it's a local affiliate, they will have to go approve it anyway. Let's say the local affiliate is only presenting the final form asset with the module which was not pre-approved. Is there a problem with that?
Brand dilution. If you're allowing them to change things at a local level, then you're not consistent with the initial global strategy of the brand. The point of global is you act as set. This is our strategy. This is what the colors, the things, the messages we want to say.
Yeah.
If you don't approve that up front and say this is what we've agreed to, local teams just change it all.
Yeah.
So you're back to your first problem where the Mona Lisa is not the same.
Yeah, but I would counter that a little bit, right? What is global strategy supposed to be? It's not necessarily defining out what all of your local tactics look like. Because that will change, the messaging will change at a local level. It will be adapted. Mona Lisa won't look the same in France and Spain and Germany because she will look different because of that transcreation requirement. So I don't think it's creating the precision global to local impact, but it's right about how you create the essence at a global level. What's the strategic core messaging that should be utilised?
Core messaging.
Precisely, exactly. Not exhaustively. Core messaging that should be adopted by local teams and reused over and over again. And they can take that core messaging and adapt it to their local needs. But it's setting that expectation. That I think is the word. Is the expectation.
Yeah.
Because to me, there's a myth somewhere that somebody created that modular content means we no longer need final form MLR review. I mean, it's not true. It's a requirement in code of practice. We have to have that.
Yeah.
So it's about setting the expectation of what modular content is going to deliver.
Yeah.
And to me, it's more focused approval. It's about being able to align with your MLR teams about what are the core tactics and the principles of how that content is going to later be used in those tactics so they can focus their approval on things which are net new. I don't think we're going to see emails which are built 100% pre-approved modules. There's a foundation of that which will be. So what should they be looking at? The things which they're spending their time on what is new versus what they have previously aligned on in the final form piece.
Yeah. I mean, brand dilution, coming back to your point about that, if you create the standards, I mean, we are using templates and things like that. The dilution is only when the core message is, if it's getting diluted, as long as they are within the guardrails of your brand and everything. But then that will be caught at the MLR stage if there is a problem in the dilution, or that should be. It should be part of that MLR final form approval. To some extent, it's always we need to create those.
It's a people problem, not a process problem.
Of course, yes. I mean, that's what we're trying to solve, the people problem. Can we automate that people problem, at least to some extent that we bring in more efficiency, the faster to market kind of thing, right?
So, but all the operational stuff that precedes it is where we can look at automation. We need a core claims library, that's a lot of work, right? I need an elements library, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Take that hard work out of the process,
Yeah.
people can focus on the key strategic modules that they need. That's where the value is. Not trying to chase a pipe dream of, I'm not saying that you're saying that, by the way, chase a pipe dream where you're mitigating the entire MLR process.
Yeah.
And that's where we need help.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of work on automating the MLR process, and one of the biggest problems, of course, is the litigation that will come from the final form asset. If that's going to create a problem, it's expensive. So you can't really get rid of it, at least for the foreseeable future. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years' time. Someone comes up and cracks it, or we crack it, right?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Because I've got a parallel question that lines up with what you guys are talking about. I've got people all over the world who work in med-legal in different countries, and they're working with modules, and they're trying to, customize. The question I've got, and I've been thinking about this since yesterday, when we look at the automated approval thing, it's one thing for us to say that within our organization we have an automated approval process for MLR, but what I'm most interested in is how far away are we from the UK or EMEA or Canada or the US having an automated approval tool that we can bump our work up against, so that we don't have to spend weeks and months with PAB and with FDA and with everybody else going through multiple iterations. I mean, that to me is the big question.
Yeah.
It's one thing for us to say that we can do it
Yeah,
ourselves.
it's a holy grail
right?
question. Yeah.
And I mean, how far away can we be from that?
I mean, you guys know the industry better than what we. I mean, this is we have validation engines for MLR based on certain parameters and aspects of what can be already machine approved. In the earlier days, it used to be that I worked 15 years in creative agencies. Manually check everything. We used to make so many errors, even things which were already corrected gets repeated. The mistakes get repeated, and that was a big pain point. That's already kind of taken out. Now machines can always present at least correct content.
Correct-ish.
Well,
Correct-ish.
you can pre-flight it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you can do.
Yeah, it's a
Put something in
pre-validation.
engine, make sure before I actually waste the time of my MLR team, make sure the quality's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's what it's referred to.
Sure.
There is, in the US, I know that you can do submissions to the FDA on variations per chassis. You can submit a matrix of how you're measuring.
Yeah.
You can submit the templates and example essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not. But that's only per channel. So they can't be channel agnostic. It can be a great solution for marketing email automation, but it's not true modular content because it's not channel agnostic in its nature. But it sets an interesting precedent of how that could evolve in the future. But what control do we have over that?
Yeah, I mean, then you got the additional complications like countries like Canada, France, which have the external authorities, which creates its own problems. But they were open, at least for Canada, I remember, they were open to dialogue with changing with modular content, the external authority. So, I mean, the element is the risk. The risk is a problem. How much risk can you take in
That's a subjective conversation.
yeah, it's a
Risk
yeah.
appetite, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the thing.
Every day for me.
Yeah, so as long as we can identify what are the objective things that we can automate and then remove, and then leave that bit of subjectivity, I guess. And the other option now is like when we talk about content automation, it's at the point of delivery, automate that content. But then within that workflow, let's say you have next best action where you trigger something, but the content has to be auto-generated, let's say an email, but it has to go through an MLR workflow, maybe 2 days, and then push it back into the system, into the workflow. Something like that could be an opportunity. But I hope you got your answer to the... I mean, it went into a...
The industry is facing significant resource limitations also in MLR, right?
Yeah.
We talk about segment-specific content, and we just did content for one segment so far, and we will have like 5 segments in the future,
Yeah.
and our modules will be on multiple segments, and we don't hire like 20 additional MLR people.
Yeah.
That's the issue, right?
I've got an army
So
of
I think that's the reason why we need to find new ways of improving.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, can it be done? This is
Yes,
what we were
can it be
discussing.
done? Yes. So we are 10 minutes over time, and I appreciate your patience and staying with us. I will try to run really quick through the rest, because whatever the objective is that we set upon us today is not to reinvent the wheel, right? We don't want to invent something from scratch and do something that would really disrupt our operations, so that we do something out of the industry. So we wanted to understand, in order for us to achieve our results, we need to understand what's already happening, what's already available, because there are some great achievements in the market that are already available, and then we need to learn from the best. We need to adapt the best practices and apply them to our industry with a twist that it would be applicable to pharma. So we did a little bit of research, trying to understand what's already available, and we actually identified that there are different aspects of content production automation, and there is no one answer, one explanation what that is, because in different industries, in different companies, everybody will have their own definition of what content production automation is. And just a couple of examples, for example, content batching, so basically breaking the process of content creation into parts which can be automated individually, for example, like creating placeholders, creating key messages, creating metadata, and so on. So that is done gradually, and then your result is created in a batch. Then content package, ad package generation, that is a very widely accepted and widely applied practice of generating content in packages based on the strategy, based on the content needs. AI-powered generation of content, so this is AI, Gen AI, so this is something that we already are working a lot with, generating images, generating tags, generating the combinations of those. And the most interesting, and I think that this is the future for us and the quickest next step for us to go, is content adaptation, localization in bulk, because if you have your content in a package that would be tagged accordingly and it would have the key messages and have brand guidelines, you can easily localize it into the next package based on your locales, countries, regions, and so on. And having the brand guidelines for your regions, for countries straight away, having the key messages, metadata adapted, it can be localized in a bulk, and you don't need to go and localize every bulk, every image, every text of it. So, please next. So, this is something interesting, and I just want to say that while doing the research, we identified some of the good examples on the market. All of this information is coming from the internet, open source. So, if you see some numbers and then in 5 years you don't get 20% decrease in design brief received, this is blame the internet, not us, because all of this information comes from the open source. Because we saw that all of these companies, and these are just the biggest companies that we found that are doing some sort of content production automation already, and they are claiming to be getting results today doing some of the activities that we discussed previously. And as you can see, the reduction of the efforts needed for creativity, for generation of content, for the general timelines and costs. And as you can see, all of these companies are huge global with a lot of different locales, and they are doing pretty much the same stuff that we do in pharma, but just in a different market. So if they managed to achieve such results in their industries with the help of the automation, so can we, right? We just need to find the right way to do it. So once again, all of this information is from open source, so just keep in mind that. And then we asked ourselves a question, so what can we do really in the journey to do, to enable our customers and our industry to achieve the same results? So here is a little bit of an overview, what we see as the next step and what we really intend to do in the nearest future, because we have our own platform, our own product that is enabling our customers to achieve their results and work on their content. And here we see automation as the throughout process that should be applied to all steps of the life cycle of the content production. And then we see some of the potential improvements that will be applied to all of the steps. For example, initiation and planning, so content tagging, smart search engine, decomposition engine. So this is something that is partially available already, like content tagging, smart search, it is already available in us, and then we are improving the process by adding more functionality there. As for content authoring, we are already doing some of the Gen AI initiatives for generating tags, and we intend to add generation of images, localization of text, and then Gen AI is not only about atoms, it is also about molecules and about the full assets. So we're working on module suggestion engine, module creation engine, and that is something that is coming to life this year. Then if we're talking about digitization of content, because we're saying that at least at this point, we are not ready to reduce the need for designs totally, so there is a possibility that there will be designs. So we are going to introduce the converter tool that would digitize the design files automatically and reduce the need for that. For content assembling, we're doing generation of claims and linkage of claims, MLR acceleration. So this is something that we discussed earlier, this pre-approval or pre-validation to make sure that content is just good quality. At this point, we're not talking it is approved. We're saying it's good quality content, right? That would automatically reduce the need to reapprove it and resubmit it. Then content distribution, spam emails, automatic content generation and for different channels, and of course analysis, because it does not matter whatever you do if you cannot make an insight out of it. So content performance suggestion engines and generation of reports based on the performance and so on. So this is something that we have in the pipeline. This is our vision about the automation, and this is something that we see is possible to apply to the process just in the nearest future. I saw some questions. Maybe you have questions about this? No?
I mean, so things like the content decomposition engine, I've tried a couple of those, and it didn't go well, right? It was meant to pull core claims from the content, and it pulled gobbledygook.
Right.
I'll be interested in your MLR collaboration engine. So the acceleration I get, that's just pre-MLR, you're checking grammar, reference check, that kind of thing. What's a collaboration engine?
So this is more for the collaboration between the users, so that the process of resubmitting and communicating the changes, improvements, and versioning is done better. But
So beside Viva, essentially, because Viva basically dominates everything.
yes, absolutely. But this is the discussion that we will probably have separately, right? Because on our end, we see that the users are really so the approval system, which Viva promises, is the place where the approval happens, but then there's so much work that needs to happen outside of it. And we see that on our end. And for example, this is what you do, and like probably the clients do, regardless whether they do Viva or eWizard or whatever, they need to have tabs, right? They need to open the tab or download a PDF and print it out. I don't know what they do, right? And then check, and then so on. So this is something that can be improved, really, to like just reduce the time to check and see what needs to change, and then going back and change, oh, did I change it correctly, and blah, 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 so on. Yes, so this is what we see in the pipeline. And of course, as for the quality of the things that are available in the market today, so of course it is a valid comment that we cannot rely 100% on auto-translation or auto-generation. We have all tried ChatGPT, and you know that it's like works exactly in half times, right? Like 50% it gives you good result, 50% it's irrelevant. So I asked ChatGPT about what's the best restaurant in my town, and it gave me like 10 totally made-up restaurants. You know, it's like doesn't know. But there's the learning curve, right? This is the thing with ML, AI, that it does not work from day one. You need to train, you need to improve, you need to give back the feedback, and this is something that needs to happen.
We're internally structured to provide the data training set.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at MLR review, Viva, legal notoriously does not like to give comments. They just go, we don't like this, let's discuss.
Yes.
Right? So then you're not feeding the engine anything because people don't want to do that. So, I mean, that's our problem, but I think we need to catch up internally with this.
Absolutely. So yes.
All right.
Yes, so then the last thing we wanted to discuss today, because we are at our end, we're focusing on content production automation, and this is what we really see as the next step for us to improve and to optimize. And it sounds so exciting. You can create the batches of content, you can generate packages of ads, you can localize ads, all on a click of a button. But let's then do an experiment today. Let's just say that you will give me access to your digital asset management system, and you will give me a topic for an email, and I will browse it, I will select the relevant messaging, the relevant images, the relevant references, put it into an email, and send it to a client, sign in your email under it. Would you be willing to do that? Probably not, right? If anybody says yes, God bless you and your company, right? Because you cannot just do it. You cannot, if you gave me the access to your digital asset management system and wanted me to compile emails, you would probably want me to be aware of your guidelines, of your content strategy, of the design guidelines, of the key message hierarchy, about the segmentation, who are your customers, how you talk to them, what are you trying to achieve with your content, what are the key objectives for the product, for the company, and so on. So, and just imagine, I am a human, I have emotions, I am intelligent, I can make judgment, but the machine doesn't. So, if we're talking about the machines, it has to be 10 times more rigid. It has to be strict, it has to be regulated, it has to be very, very reliable and trustworthy. So these are just some of the prerequisites that need to be taken into account, and that is why we are there to define what will happen next and how we will define the process. Yeah, so that's it for me. So there you go.
So yeah, I mean, this is an open question. Where, in your opinion, should the next content automation leap happen? Which area of the content production automation do you think the industry should focus on? Of course, I'm around people.
People, it's internal people. We don't have, even with this, my marketeers, my people are asking to push the responsibility of the agency. I've got 476 or something like that in UCB. And they all want access now to eWizard and SourceClear, right? And I'm meant to train over 400 agencies how to do it properly and maintain all the things you just put there before it. So it's about internally reducing that down. Key agencies, if you can use them, a content creation hub for the factory, all these kinds of things, and we're just not there, because that means changing people's job spec, their scope, what they do, how we measure what they do. You know, it's not just volume anymore. It's like how many fancy campaigns can we make, measure them on how's your content used. You know, and for me, we're a little bit far behind. So that's why I want to bring.
Maybe an additional point also, reduce the, I would say, bottlenecks and the workload manual effort. Today we know already the effort, but what you are presenting in the background, there is also a lot of operations and tagging. People have issues to find content.
Yeah.
Will be issues to find modules as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how all of this can be simplified, also with the Viva promo mats, the end users for submitting have issues with the workflows. How can all those be facilitated that everything is trackable, easy findable?
Yeah.
That should be my recommendation. If you can already solve that,
Yeah.
without being magic, remove those bottlenecks.
I would share that. I think, you know, the operational challenges of doing all this stuff is enormous. It takes such a huge amount of effort, people and training. It's just crazy. However, let me think a little bit less operationally for a moment. Because the challenge that we have is sustainability. You know, we're asking our brand teams to think differently, to create experiences, to create journeys. This is hard for them. They don't come from that place at the moment. We're not doing this today. So we have to employ an army of centurions to support them, which is expensive and unsustainable. But once we've created these frameworks, once we started to have those examples, that's something for our automation solutions to learn from. This is what an experience looks like. So when one experience is created, why can't I just ask the prompt? What should my experience be for this objective, for this customer in this market? Here's your journey and all the tactics that will support it, and we can go and execute. And I no longer need this army of people, of consultants, to support everything that the brands are doing. That's the change to me.
Absolutely.
Get the operational foundation in place, then we can start thinking about AI driving those experiences.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. One last question. What's the opposite of artificial intelligence? We've been talking about AI the last couple of days. All right. I mean, I looked up, if you look it up, most people say it's natural stupidity. But I asked my 9-year-old, he said, human intelligence. That's it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.